I thought for Easter week, we needed to talk about resurrection and how God is present with us even when we couldn't feel him over the last few days of Holy Week. Can you imagine after the death of Jesus and the grief that that would have caused and the fear and the unknown of what happens next with the church? Can you imagine everything feeling dark? I want you to imagine that, and then I want you to imagine that God's Spirit was still there. The angel of God is still there. God is always with us. And we know he's there because he didn't die. Even though Jesus in human form had died, God still existed and there was still hope. And that's the promise of the Holy Spirit. Now, something happened to me about 6 weeks ago. That was something that had never happened to me before in my entire life. You know how birds often hit the window? We had a bird hit the window that we didn't hear happen. And it left an almost perfect imprint of a dove on our window. I mean, you can see the eyes, you can see the tails. There was one little feather in the tail that's still there. It was both wings. You could see the feathers on the wings. I mean, it was the clearest imprint of a dove I've ever seen. And in my heart, what it said was, I'm here. I'm with you. Now, my first thought was not that. My first thought was to go out and see if the thing was dead or if it needed to be revived. It was gone. It had flown away. And I thought, wow, out of my entire life, this is the only time this has ever happened. I didn't know they could make that kind of an imprint at all. And I've had birds hit my window in driving a car and never seen this. But here's what I found. I found when I started going, how come this is so unusual? I've never seen this. I told my housekeeper, I don't want you to clean it off. I don't want you to get rid of it because that's my reminder that God is with us in the middle of things when we can't imagine it. The Holy Spirit is here. Now, this happens to be on my dining room window. It's still there, at least at the time I'm recording this. But what happened next was about a week later, I saw another one almost identical to this on a different window at the opposite side of my house where we come and go in that mudroom where we walk in. And I went, how can this possibly be? How can it be that God is here when I've never seen this before? 2 of these in the same week. My husband laughed and said, maybe he's going to be the first one to say, I'm going to make it in the house. Maybe it was intentional, but I've never seen this. But what it told me was this. 2 things. Doves usually travel in pairs. And I wonder if that was God telling us, I am surrounding you with my Spirit. So I want to share that blessing with you. We have a pair of doves at our house. We have live doves that coo over us in the mornings and that kind of thing. But we also have these impressions of doves that every time we walk by them, they're kind of like a spiritual discipline to say, oh yeah, God is surrounding us with peace and power and resurrection hope. And that's what I hope you'll take from this. I hope you will take an image of this dove. Feel free to take it off of our website. And when you do, I hope that when you see this devotional, you'll be able to remember God is surrounding you with peace and love. And Easter is the sign of that. Celebrate Easter with me. So surround your house with the presence of God's love.